Imagine having to choose between your mother's memory and your father's happiness. That's the dilemma facing Prince William. Princess Diana, an unforgettable icon. Camilla, a woman vilified by the world. And now William must decide, should he recognize Camilla as queen. The British public is divided, the media is in a frenzy, and his family is on edge. One speech could change everything. But will it be enough to heal the wounds? Behind the stoic facade of the royal family lies a deeply human story. In the long, silent corridors of Kensington Palace, light from crystal chandeliers dances across marble walls, yet it cannot dispel the chill enveloping Prince William. He stands alone before a faded portrait of his mother, Princess Diana. Her radiant smile, preserved through the masterful strokes of an artist, carries an ineffable melancholy. Diana's deep blue eyes seem to pierce through him, evoking the love the world still holds for her and the pain she silently endured. At 43, William is no longer the boy who held his mother's hand as they walked through London's streets where crowds cheered her name. Now he is the heir to the throne, the eldest son of King Charles III, bearing the weight of a crown he has yet to wear. The death of Queen Elizabeth II 2 years ago thrust him closer to an inescapable destiny. But today it's not the throne that burdens his heart. It's a decision that could shake the very foundations of the monarchy, whether to formally recognize Camilla, his father's wife, as queen. He reaches out his fingers, brushing the frame of the portrait, gliding over a thin layer of dust. The public has never forgotten Diana, and their loyalty to her is a sharp blade, ready to cut anyone who dares to take her place, especially Camilla. William knows this all too well. He has heard the whispers, seen the scornful glances, and read the biting articles branding Camilla the wrecker of a fairy tale marriage. Yet he has also witnessed her steadfast devotion to his father, a woman who has weathered storms to rebuild her image. His footsteps echo softly on the stone floor as he leaves the portrait gallery, heading toward his private library. Memories of his mother flood back like a tidal wave. He recalls the nights Diana held him close, sharing her dreams of a world where compassion triumphs over prejudice. But he also remembers her tears, the times she sat silently in her room, her gaze lost as she spoke of the other woman, Camilla. That name, even after all these years, remains a wound that never fully healed in William's heart. He pauses before an antique bookshelf where leather-bound volumes stand neatly aligned. An old worn book catches his eye, a diary Diana used to read, a gift she left him before she was gone forever. William pulls it from the shelf and a folded piece of paper slips to the floor. He bends to pick it up, his heart racing, as he recognizes his mother's familiar slanted handwriting. "Follow your heart, but protect our family," the note reads. The words strike like a dagger, sharp and haunting. William clutches the paper tightly, feeling as though his mother stands beside him, her gentle yet resolute voice echoing in his mind. His heart urges him to preserve Diana's legacy, her values of kindness, her connection to the forgotten. But protecting the family, does that include accepting Camilla, the woman he once regarded with suspicion as a teenager? As he steps into the courtyard, the pale afternoon light of London filters through the trees. William looks up at the sky, sensing his mother's gaze from somewhere beyond, tender yet challenging. Can he honor Diana's legacy while opening his heart to the woman tied to her pain? That question, like the invisible crown upon his head, weighs heavy and unanswered. In a secluded room at Clarence House, the glow of a silver desk lamp illuminates Camilla's face, accentuating the lines etched by time and pressure. She sits quietly, surrounded by newspapers and the glaring screens of tablets displaying sharp headlines. Diana's son to decide Camilla's fate? And will the Queen be recognized? Her hands tremble as she flips through another article, its harsh tone a familiar stab, conjuring memories of days when the world branded her the homewrecker. Camilla, now queen in name, has never grown accustomed to Diana's towering shadow. Despite dedicating decades to rebuilding her image through charitable campaigns, particularly supporting victims of domestic violence, a cause close to her heart, the wounds of the past remain unhealed. The public, with their fierce loyalty to Diana, views her with suspicion, as if she will forever be the other woman. She sets the newspaper down, her gaze drifting to the window. Outside, the Clarence House garden glows under the afternoon sun, but within Camilla, a silent storm rages. She recalls a moment years ago when William was a lanky teenager, his blue eyes so like his mother's watching her warily over tea at Highgrove. She had wanted to reach out to tell him she wasn't the enemy, that she was simply a woman who loved his father. But Diana's shadow, even in death, stood firmly between them, thwarting her every effort. Now with her fate in William's hands, Camilla feels a rare pang of fear. Not of rejection she's grown used to disdain, but of history forever marking her as a stain, a figure unable to escape her past. A single tear rolls down her cheek, falling onto the intricately embroidered rug. She turns to Laura, her only friend who dares speak the truth, and whispers, "I didn't want to hurt her." Laura, but how do I live in her shadow? Laura, with her silver hair and sharp eyes, takes Camilla's hand. "You've done everything you could, Camilla. William will see that. He's not the angry boy he once was." But Camilla isn't certain. She knows William's love for his mother runs deep, a flame that never fades. Will he see her as his father's partner, or only as the cause of Diana's tears? Meanwhile, at Kensington Palace, William sits in the cozy drawing room, facing Catherine, the Princess of Wales. The firelight dances across her face, highlighting the calm resolve that always comforts him. Catherine, with her brown hair loose and her eyes bright, listens as he speaks of Diana's letter, of the words that keep him awake. "Follow your heart, but protect our family. I feel like I'm betraying her." William confesses, his voice low and hoarse, his hands clasped tightly. "But my father, he needs her, Kate. If I reject Camilla, I'll hurt him." Catherine rests her hand on his, her gentleness, like a breeze soothing the storm within him. "William, you don't have to choose between your mother and Camilla. Camilla isn't Diana's rival. No one could replace your mother. But she's the woman who loves your father, who stood by him through everything. You can respect that without dimming your mother's legacy." William looks into Catherine's eyes, seeking the certainty he lacks. She always sees things more clearly than he does, as if she can untangle the most complex knots with a few wise words. But before he can respond, the phone on the table buzzes. The screen displays "Father." William takes a deep breath and answers. King Charles's voice, though warm, carries an undeniable weight. "William, my boy," he says, "I know this isn't an easy decision. But Camilla, she's my strength. I'm not asking you to love her, only to give her a chance. Let the world see our family can be united." The call ends, but Charles's words linger, mingling with Diana's slanted script in William's mind. He stands stepping onto the balcony where London's cool air wraps around him. Under the sunset, the city stretches out like a vibrant tapestry. But in William's heart, one question remains. Can he bring his family together, or will his decision tear apart what little remains of them? Early morning in London brings a damp chill of autumn, but on the streets, a feverish wave is spreading. News of Prince William's impending decision, whether to formally recognize Camilla as queen, has flooded newspapers and social media. From quaint Notting Hill cafes to bustling Trafalgar Square corners, people whisper about the royal saga with a mix of fascination and outrage. On Twitter, opposing hashtags, Shopchijern, Forever Diana, and Camilla Crowned, are splitting the online community, each post a spark ready to ignite a wildfire. In a private meeting room at Buckingham Palace, William sits at the head of a long mahogany table, his gaze sweeping over the familiar faces of senior royals. The air is heavy, as if the walls adorned with ancient portraits are pressing down on everyone in the room. Princess Anne, her hair tightly pinned and eyes sharp, breaks the silence. "William, you know how the public will react," she says, her tone pragmatic as always. "They love Diana, and they won't forgive easily. If you recognize Camilla, brace for a storm." William nods, but his eyes drift. He understands the public's power, those who made his mother a global icon, but are also ready to tear apart anyone who touches her legacy. Across from him, Prince Edward, quieter in demeanor, speaks up. "But our family needs unity. Anne, we've lost too much, Mother Harry." His voice trails off at the mention of William's brother, who left the royal family in the whirlwind of Brexit years ago. That wound is still fresh, and William feels the fragility of his family keenly. He rests his hands on the table, trying to focus, but a memory surges unbidden. He recalls a summer when he was 12, when Diana took him to a homeless shelter in East London. She knelt chatting with a weathered man as if he were an old friend, her hand gently on William's shoulder. "People need compassion. William, not crowns," she said, her voice warm but firm. That lesson now clashes with the reality he faces. How can he reconcile his mother's ideals with Camilla's role, whom the public still sees as the villain? A knock at the door interrupts his thoughts. An aide enters, handing William a dossier, a summary of public reactions from the media team. He skims the text. 60% of those polled oppose recognizing Camilla, many calling her unworthy. A few praise her charity work, especially her projects for domestic violence victims, but those voices are drowned out by vicious criticism. William sets the dossier down, his chest tightening. The media, as ever, is merciless. Tabloids scream headlines, William's impossible choice. Diana or Camilla, one article even reprints an old photo of Diana, eyes brimming with tears, next to a smiling Camilla beside King Charles. The image cuts like a knife, stirring memories of nights he heard his mother cry behind closed doors. The meeting ends without a clear resolution, leaving William with a sense of isolation. He exits the room, stepping into Buckingham's grand hallway, where portraits of past monarchs seem to judge him. He thinks of Harry, once his confidant, now a distant name in American headlines. Will his decision push his family further apart, as Harry's departure did? As his car leaves the palace, William glances out the window and sees a group of protesters near the gates. A middle-aged woman holds a handwritten sign, "Diana's heart lives on." The crowd chants his mother's name, and William feels their pain as his own. He closes his eyes, trying to block out the image, but the sign's words are seared into his mind. Back at Kensington, William seeks solace in the small garden, where he and Catherine often find peace. He sits on a wooden bench, still clutching Diana's note. "Follow your heart, but protect our family," he murmurs, as if the words could guide him. But his heart is torn in two. One half belongs to his mother, the other to his duty to his father and the kingdom. In the distance, Big Ben's chimes mark another day's passing. To William, each toll is a reminder. Time to decide is running out, and the kingdom, like his family, teeters on the brink of division. In the rare stillness of their Kensington Palace home, the golden-orange glow of the fireplace dances across the floral-patterned walls, offering warmth against the crisp London night. William sits in an old armchair, his weary eyes fixed on the flames, where embers crackle as if whispering untold stories. Beside him, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, curls up on the sofa, her hands clasped around a steaming mug of tea. The children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, are long asleep, leaving a peaceful space for the couple. But within William, a storm still rages. The past weeks, the pressure of deciding Camilla's fate has suffocated him. Every step through the palace, every glance from the public, every social media post reminds him of the invisible crown weighing on his shoulders. Catherine sets her mug down, her gentle but piercing gaze fixed on her husband. She senses his turmoil, as she always understands him, better than he understands himself. "William," she says, her voice soft yet firm, "you can't keep letting the past hold you captive. You're trying to do the right thing, but you're doing it alone. Let me help you." William leans back, closing his eyes, letting the fire's warmth ease some of his tension. "Kate, I don't know what's right anymore," he admits, his voice low and hoarse. "If I recognize Camilla, I feel like I'm betraying Mum. But if I reject her, I'll hurt Dad, and maybe our whole family." Catherine leans forward, placing her hand on his, her touch a gentle anchor. "Do you remember my grandmother?" She begins, her storytelling voice slow and deliberate. "She once told me about forgiving a betrayal in our family, not because she was weak, but because she wanted to keep us whole. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting William. It means choosing peace, choosing the future." Her words cut through the fog in William's mind like a beam of light. He opens his eyes, looking at her face, the woman who has been his rock through every storm. "You don't have to choose between your mum and Camilla," she continues, her voice steadier. "You're choosing the future for your dad, your family, and this kingdom. Your mum would want that, William. She always spoke of compassion, didn't she?" William nods, memories of Diana flooding back. He recalls her taking him to charity centers, holding the hands of society's outcasts, teaching him that love is the greatest strength. But he also remembers his father's words from a recent call, "Camilla is my strength." Could Diana's compassion extend to the woman who caused her pain? Catherine rises, stepping to the fireplace, the flames casting a glow on her glossy brown hair. "You can recognize Camilla and still honor your mum's spirit," she says, turning to face him. "Keep her work alive, mental health, charity, kindness. That's how you protect her legacy, not by rejecting Camilla. Her words, simple yet profound, ignite a clear spark in William. For the first time in weeks, he sees a path forward. Not an easy one, but one he can walk. He stands crosses to Catherine and pulls her into his arms. "Thank you," he whispers, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't know where I'd be without you." Catherine smiles, her arms tightening around him. "You'll be fine," she says, "because you're your mother's son, and you carry her heart." That night, William sits at his desk, the desk lamp, casting light on blank sheets of paper. He begins drafting his speech, each word chosen carefully to balance respect for Camilla, love for his father, and reverence for his mother. This will be the most important speech of his life, one that millions will scrutinize, from Diana's devotees to Camilla's critics. As his pen glides across the page, a line emerges, as if guided by Diana's hand. "My mother taught me compassion, my father taught me duty. Together they guide our future." William pauses, rereads it, and feels a surge of strength. This line, he knows, will be the emotional heart of his speech, a promise that he won't let the past destroy the future. He folds the paper, stands, and steps onto the balcony. Beneath a starlit sky, London stretches before him, a city both loving and judgmental. William breathes deeply, the weight on his shoulders lifting slightly. But he knows the real challenge awaits. The public, the media, and his family's old wounds won't easily accept his choice. William looks up at the stars, silently praying for the strength to lead his kingdom through the coming storm. The Grand Hall of Buckingham Palace is steeped in solemn silence, as if the marble walls themselves hold their breath. Light from crystal chandeliers glimmers, reflecting off gilded chairs, arranged in neat rows occupied by royals, senior advisors, and a select few journalists. William stands before a large mirror in the waiting room, adjusting his tie on a navy suit, his expression resolute, but his eyes betraying a hint of anxiety. Today he faces not only those in this room, but the entire kingdom, and perhaps the specter of his mother Diana, whom he feels watching from afar. The clock strikes 10, and the double doors to the hall swing open. William steps to the podium, his strides steady, his gaze sweeping the room. The faces before him, Princess Anne with her pragmatic sharpness, Prince Edward with his thoughtful stare, and advisors with tense expressions, form a complex tapestry of hope and apprehension. He takes a deep breath, places his speech on the podium, but when he speaks, he barely needs the paper. "The royal family is more than tradition," he begins, his steady voice resonating in the vast space. "It is the heartbeat of our nation, a thread connecting past, present, and future." He speaks of the challenges the kingdom has overcome, the loss of Queen Elizabeth, the scars of the pandemic, and the call for renewal in a changing world. The room listens intently, but the air grows taut when he mentions his father, King Charles. "My father has led us with unwavering dedication," William says, his voice softening, his eyes shining with love and respect. "And beside him, Queen Camilla has shared that burden with a commitment to our country and the causes she champions." The room seems to hold its breath. Camilla's name, though spoken with respect, is like a stone dropped into a still pond, rippling silently. William senses the eyes fixed on him, from the skepticism of some advisors to Edward's subtle nod. He takes another breath, then shifts, his voice deepening. "My mother, Princess Diana, taught me that compassion is a leader's greatest strength," he says, and the room seems to quiver at her name. Her love for this country, for the forgotten lives on, in every kind act we share. Her legacy will never fade. Those words, like a sacred vow, ease some of the tension. William pauses, his gaze sweeping the room as if seeking empathy from those before him. Then he concludes, his voice strong yet emotional. "My mother taught me compassion. My father taught me duty. Together they guide our future. I stand here today to honor both and to pledge that the royal family will continue to serve, unite, and move forward." Applause erupts, tentative at first, then swelling into a wave. William stands tall, feeling as though a massive weight has lifted, but he knows the true test lies beyond this room, in London's streets, on phone screens, and in the hearts of millions still chanting Diana's name. At Clarence House, Camilla weeps as she hears William's words. Not because she's been recognized, though that brings profound relief, but because for the first time she feels seen as part of the story, not just a shadow in Diana's past. She picks up a pen, writing a brief note to William, her hand trembling. "Thank you for your courage. I will cherish this trust." Meanwhile, at Highgrove, King Charles watches the speech on television, his eyes glistening with pride and gratitude. He says nothing, only grips his aide's hand tightly, a rare gesture revealing a monarch's emotion. London's streets buzz with heated debates. In a small Camden pub, a group gathers around a TV arguing over William's speech. "He was right to recognize Camilla," a middle-aged man says firmly. "She's worked hard, and King Charles needs her." But a young woman retorts sharply, "Diana was the heart of the monarchy. Recognizing Camilla is a betrayal." Social media, an invisible battlefield, explodes with conflicting views. The public is split. Some praise William's maturity and ability to bridge divides, hailing him as the future king with a vision beyond past grudges. Others, Diana's loyalists, cry betrayal, posting emotional messages like William chose Camilla over his mother. One tweet reads, "Diana taught us love, but William gave the crown to her destroyer." It garners thousands of likes but is countered by defenders of Camilla, highlighting her years of charity work. The media, as always, fans the flames. Mainstream outlets like The Times and The Guardian publish lengthy analyses praising William's political finesse and rare compassion, but tabloids like The Sun and Daily Mail opt for sensational headlines. Did William betray Diana and Camilla wins? But at what cost? One article reprints a tearful Diana photo beside William, speaking deliberately, stirring drama. At Kensington Palace, William sits in his study, scrolling through headlines on his tablet. Each feels like a small cut, but he's not surprised. He knew his decision wouldn't please everyone. 3 weeks after the Buckingham Palace speech, London's fervor has cooled slightly, but the echoes of William's decision to recognize Camilla linger like embers under ash. The streets, once alive with protests and debates, have returned to their daily rhythm. Exhausted from the ordeal, William senses a new spark, a chance to shape the future, not just for the monarchy, but for his mother's legacy, Princess Diana. On a radiant autumn evening, William stands on the stage at a charity gala in the Royal Albert Hall. Thousands of philanthropists and beneficiaries of Diana's programs listen intently. Tonight, he announces the Diana Foundation, a new initiative focused on mental health, community support, and compassion, values his mother devoted her life to. Stage lights gleam on his sleek black suit, but it's his eyes, resolute yet warm, that hold the audience spellbound. The Diana Foundation is more than a name, he says, his rich voice carrying through the sound system. "It's a promise that my mother's spirit, her love, kindness, and connection to the overlooked will live on. We don't just remember her, we live by what she taught us." Applause surges like a tidal wave, and William feels emotion welling in his chest. He looks down at the audience where Catherine sits in the front row, her encouraging smile an anchor. Beside her, unexpectedly, is Camilla. It's her first public appearance since William's speech, and her presence, quiet but elegant in a green silk dress, signals reconciliation. When William's eyes meet Camilla's, she nods slightly, a subtle smile on her lips. That small moment carries immense weight, a step forward in a relationship once fractured by the past. William steps off the stage, the lights dimming for a choir performance, and approaches Camilla in a quiet corner. "Thank you for coming," he says sincerely. Camilla places a hand on his arm, her eyes shining with gratitude. "William, I didn't come out of duty," she replies, her voice soft but clear. "I came because I believe in what you're doing, and because I know Diana would be proud." Her words, simple yet profound, leave William speechless. For the first time, he feels a connection with Camilla, not as a replacement for his mother, but as a partner in preserving the values Diana championed. He nods, saying nothing more, but inside an old knot unravels. The royal family, though still under public scrutiny, begins to see cautious optimism. Articles in The Times and BBC praise William for opening a new chapter for the monarchy, while polls show a slight uptick in support for Camilla, largely due to her domestic violence advocacy. But not everything is smooth. Some Diana fans still hold small memorials, raising signs reading "Diana's heart lives on," and tabloids keep stirring drama with headlines like "Camilla forgiven, but is Diana forgotten?" William, aware of these voices, chooses to move forward. One early morning, he takes his children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, to the Diana Memorial Fountain in Kensington Gardens. Under soft sunlight, the lake glimmers, reflecting white flowers planted around the fountain. William kneels, pointing to the gently flowing water. Your grandmother, he tells them softly, taught me that love is the most important thing. She wanted us to help others even when it's hard. Charlotte, her bright eyes mirroring Diana's, holds his hand. Did Granny like flowers, Daddy? She asks. William smiles, pointing to the white lilies. She loved them, and she'd love you because you carry her heart. In that serene garden moment, William feels a profound healing. Recognizing Camilla, though painful, has freed him to focus on what truly matters, keeping Diana's spirit alive, not through conflict or division, but through action and compassion. The royal family, having crossed a new threshold, still faces challenges. The Mexit wound and Harry's absence remain an unhealed void. The public, while slowly warming to Camilla, holds steadfast loyalty to Diana. And William, now carrying both his mother's heart and his father's duty, stands at the crossroads of past and future. He steps out of the garden, his children scampering ahead, their laughter echoing in the air. Under London's deep blue sky, William looks up, feeling a renewed strength. Can the royal family fully heal? Will his vision withstand the storms ahead? For now, he has no answers. But with each step, he carries Diana's legacy, a flame that never fades, lighting the path of a prince shaped by loss, love, and the courage to lead. If you're moved by Prince William's emotional journey, please like, share, and subscribe to explore more captivating royal stories.